And now, on to part 5 of Miriam Jacobs' 2023 interview. And make sure to tune in tomorrow when we get a 2026 update. Don't forget to check out This Week in the Sky, my weekly Substack that explains the upcoming transits for the week ahead. All right, on to the last portion of the interview.
Or the back to the body thing is I love if it's a live class, then I can get people who do something that are so, that can be really outrageous, or people who, when during the pandemic and I was strictly doing Zoom, there was one woman who she didn't want to really get up and move, and she did it with your hands. Or can it be for people who are speaking, who want to, and I'm not a storyteller, but can someone, tell a story off of that? Or move where, a lot of times I bring costumes, or I bring costume pieces that people can create their own costumes, like, something that could be a cape or a headpiece or a skirt, just because that helps people open up because they're more comfortable. And then this is something that can evolve. Like, can it evolve that other people teach tarot in motion, or teach tarot through movement? Let's put it that way, since we're looking at it tarot-wise.
So do you tell them, or do you theme these tarot movement workshops? Do you theme them after a major arcana? Do you theme them after a suit? Do you theme them after, or is it just whatever comes to you, whatever opens up inside of you?
So I had a friend who is a dancer, and we came up with this, let's see how this fits into a structure for dancing. In Northern California, I am really blessed to be in the home of somatic dance, or, maybe someone on the East Coast would tell you something different. But Anna Halpern, who started, dancing for people and dancing for, civil rights, I took some classes with her. So I just was like crazy taking these classes of somatic dances. As a kid, my parents didn't give me dance lessons. And probably I'm better off, because at that point I could only have like ballet, and I would have failed miserably at ballet. But, my love came in from, seeing a lot of dance, being a dance spectator, and seeing where that connected, or being introduced to different, different kinds of dance, first for visually seeing, and then doing 5 rhythms, and doing continuum, and doing like variations that came off of Anna Halpern's work. And I just decided that some of that, like going to an ecstatic dance was, I'm not the right demographic age-wise, and it was like, okay, what am I doing all this movement for? And how does it connect? How does it connect to the elemental, what I love? How does that connect? And the way that it connected was by through the cards. So, so I experimented and did a lot of classes, and, and then decided to put that in a book, or knowing at first I called it Dancing the Tarot. And I had someone who produces dance classes, dance performances, said, you might want to call it something different, because calling it Dancing the Tarot is going to alienate a lot of people. Because then I did want to, get people who were involved, who were like, didn't want to move. And how do you move, and how does it relate? Like, we've been talking all about, like, it doesn't matter if people know the history of tarot, or know what kind of body work, this is a cranial sacral move. I mean, I don't know anymore either. It's like Miriam's work. And I'm connecting to you. And if this doesn't connect, either it's the wrong move, or I'm going to refer you to someone else. And so, so it's kind of like it's the same way in terms of the movement. And so I developed tarot in motion. And that is something that continues to evolve. And it's a group, usually a group involvement. It can be a one-to-one, one-on-one situation, but it's where you pull a card or pull a few cards, and then here's a guideline that you can have, and that's available. The guidelines available on my work on my website, Tarot in Motion. So what I wanted to do is the book. I wanted to just embody the wisdom of the cards, and a little piece of that goes back to my New York days when I was introduced to rituals and how important that rituals were, and seasonal rituals. And so I incorporated that into, or holidays, like if it's the summer solstice, let's how do you, have a kind of a stock question to ask if it's a group. So that's to connect to the what's going on in the world, what's going on, or how do I establish balance? And, as I've been doing this for years, it changes. It's like, what am I connecting to at that point? And how do I get people then to connect to themselves? Well, if they're asking questions, all different kinds of questions, it's still like, I want people to relate to each other and then to relate to the movement. So some of the movement, which is super important, is that you get witnessed. Because there's something about being witnessed, whether that's one-on-one and, you say something, it gets expressed, which, by the way, goes back to a lot of polarity therapy. And that whole process of involution and evolution and expressing yourself, and how important all of that is, so important. And so people get witnessed, and then they learn something from it, and then the people around them do, and then there's support in that. Or tonight I'm doing I'm a guest host at a tarot salon, and it's probably going to be different because it's outside in this adorable courtyard behind the store, and there's a little stage, and it's going to be done a little differently. So some of it is going to be some of it's going to have to be winged, and it's a new group of people. I've done them by suit, and now I do them more by seasonal events or holidays. Like, say, Valentine's Day, and that has evolved depending on when Valentine's Day happens. Like, let's all, make Valentine's for ourselves. Or one year it was like right after Valentine's, and literally on the way of my class, I think it was like the 15th or something, I bought those kid Valentine's cards, and I had everyone write themselves a Valentine's card and put it in the envelope, and then I mailed them the next day, and or you can do, I love myself with all my heart, or how do I bring balance? Like this, for years I've been, thanks to Donna Hennies, who I met in New York, who's a urban shaman, balancing eggs. So we would balance eggs, and then we do a dance for that, like balancing, or what to, so it evolves. And I like that as tarot evolves, like I'm sure you have certain cards that evolve for you, like over time, they mean something different. And so the workshops, and whether they're based on a seasonal event or a holiday or an element, it could be any of those.
I think that's really great that you've found a way to allow the body to get involved, because it is a heady, it can be, it started out as a very heady philosophy. It's just like we're all going to talk about alchemy and how it's going to work in our minds and how we're going to gain more power this way. And now I haven't heard of anybody that's been able to incorporate movement. I'm sure there's maybe some more, but not many. Like, this is because it is such an internalized thing for most of us. So that gives a different perspective, but also the physicalization of a lot of these cards, probably.
Yeah, and I think that there are people who have done music to the tarot, which some of them I don't remember off the top of my head, or certainly people who dance. But what I want to do is I wanted to give it some sort of structure. And maybe that's because I need structure, So, or I need polarity therapy. I am not going to just go, ooh, I'm lining up your chakras, over your body. I wanted some kind of balance between intellectual and, creative.
That's wonderful. Miriam, thank you. Thank you so much for explaining this. I feel a lot more connected to the cards in a different way. Once I found your website, I hadn't even thought to connect them in that way. And people do ask me, why am I stuck, or what do I need to do to change myself, or what do I need to look at, or what's something that I can work on? And it is kind of hard sometimes to answer those questions through tarot, since a lot of the decks are very geared towards real world or realistic things, like a person, or defending yourself, or a conflict, or things like that. So this is, especially if you use the deck itself and not just the ideas with another deck, because you have so many symbols on them and a different, I love how you broke up all of the ways that we usually look at them with your collage, so it gives that extra sort of shamanic feeling where we're no longer talking about the surface. We're going underneath now, even with the muscular system, with touch, you're touching skin, but you're going underneath, right? Or you're moving the things underneath. So this has been very enlightening, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who love those systems who are going to feel inspired to not only get your deck, but also just to look at it this way, or to say, yeah, you're right, there is an incorporating factor here.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. This has been fun.
Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, as above, so below, blessed be.